Audio Jungle.
Hello and welcome everybody, this is Roland from Graphic in Motion. In this tutorial I want to show you how to customize my abstract 3D corporate business intro. And before we get started in After Effects, I want to show you what you will find inside the project folder. So when you purchase the template and you unzip your zip file, you will see that there are in fact two different After Effects projects included. And one of them is called No Plugins and the other one is called Optical Flares. So I think you can figure out what this means. The No Plugins version doesn't need any third-party plugins, and the Optical Flares version does in fact need the Videocopilot Optical Flares plugin. So in case if you want to change something in the flare, you probably saw in the preview video, so more in the dark version, that there is a subtle flare in there. And if you want to change the look of this, then you would need optical flares and you could use this version. If you don't want to change it and just leave it like it is, then you can use the No Plugins version at any time. So let's go right to After Effects and let's start to customize this project. So first of all, you see that the basic setup is a light setup. In the preview video, you saw a light version and a dark version, and I will show you now how you can customize all the colors and how you can replace all the titles and objects here. So let's get started by entering a text or a logo. Therefore, we move to the logo text composition. It should be already open here. If not, you can find it in the project area up here. So open it up, and now you see that we have three layers. First of all, we have some placeholder text, and then you have my logo, which is also only a placeholder for your logo, and then we have a guide layer, and this helps us to position our text or logo so that it really lines up with our sphere in the end before it explodes. So when you take a look here, I think I have nothing active here. So I will take my logo for now because this is close to the border here. And now we'll go to the render comp, and now you see that this is just should help you to position it correctly, that nothing is intersecting with the sphere. Okay, so how do you import your logo? You go to File and Import File, Import and File, and now you can import a logo. Select your file, and I will just import the Envato logo as an example now. And open it up, and I will drag it on top of my placeholder and disable my logo, and I will just scale it down so that it is, yeah, let's say like this. And let's go to the render comp and let's take a look what this does. And you see that we already have a problem because our logo is bright and we cannot see it. So we have to change the colors here. So let's go to change the colors of this template. First of all, you have to enter the style setup composition. And you also find the style setup here inside your project area. And in the style setup composition, you can see there are three green layers, and these layers are to edit the background style, the main object style, and the particle style. So the background is very obvious, the background here. So let's select the BG style setup composition. And now we change the brightness here from white to dark. And we will really make it dark. I don't want to make it 100% black because you see then these lines here disappear. But I will really make it, let's say, maybe only 1% or 2%. Let's make it 2 for now, so that it's really dark. And if we move in closer here, now you can colorize it. And to colorize, we use a hue and saturation effect, and so it is a color slider. And you see when I slide this through, then the color changes from red, slightly red, yellow, blue, green. And in fact, because our Envato logo is a little bit greenish, so I will just use something like this for now. And of course now I could also play around with the brightness even more, you know, make it a little bit darker, make it a little bit brighter. So this is all the possibilities you have for the background. And of course you can do the same when you have light backgrounds. Let's say we go to a 95% white, and you see now the colorizing will work too. And of course the saturation, you can desaturate it or saturate it and make it darker, brighter. So you can create your own background, but for now I will stay with this greenish dark background. And now I want to match my main object to my logo, and therefore I go to, or I move to a frame where I can see my logo and my sphere, and it's about after the frame 300 because there the explosion is happening. And let's say I want to match my sphere, in this case, to my Envato color, one of my Envato colors. So I select my main object layer here. This is a PNG sequence, a pre-render from a 3D application. And now we have again a hue and saturation effect. And now you can just drag the master hue slider and just drag it to, let's say, color that is similar to our logo, like this. And now I could also take down the saturation, and you see that we get pretty close here. But in fact, I think that a little bit more color is quite cool in this case, so I will leave it at 0. And of course you can also change the lightness, but I really don't want to touch this now and leave it at 0 too. And now let's take a look. Now we have this green abstract shape forming a sphere and exploding and revealing our logo. Okay, now we can colorize our background particles here, and I don't know which color really fits, but let's see what we can do here. Again, select the background particles layer. I have to increase this probably. You can see background particles. Again, this is a render from a 3D application, and you have a hue and saturation effect here too. And now we can search for a color that we like. Or maybe we need some contrast here, something like I think it's better to take some kind of blue here. Blue is always nice for the background. Okay. So when we move back to our render composition and move to the beginning here, you see that we have our title inserts and that we nearly cannot see them now because we have to change the colors here too. So therefore we just select inside the render comp the insert style setup composition. And here you have a few color pickers. And now you can insert a title color. So this is the main color of your main title. And let's say we want to make this white in this case because we have a really dark background. And I also want to change my insert color. And the insert color is more or less the color of all of these elements here. And I want to change this, let's say, to white too, or not quite white, but a little bit of a gray. Yeah, it looks better. And now we could also change the color of our subtitle here, and this should be white too, or not quite white, a little bit gray. Yeah. Okay. And we can of course change the color of our elements here. We could now take a color from our abstract shape, or you could of course also take another color from your logo. We don't have this many different colors here. So probably I'll stick with something like this. Or we just take a color from our background particles. Oh, that was not that good. Let's take another frame. Like so. And you see now it's colorized and has again a nice contrast to the background. So now, of course, we can enter texts and some media. When you take a look at our project window, we have a folder called Title Placeholders here. And inside here you can find all the titles. And here we have a folder called Footage Placeholders, and you can find all the footage or the media elements here. So when you open up the render composition, or when you move to the render composition, you can see that there are only 3 layers visible here. But when you press this hide all button, then you will see that a lot more layers appear. Because, you know, I made them shy that they do not disturb us while doing the basic setups. But if you want to take a deeper look or an in-depth look into this project, you can always just collapse these or open them up. And now you can also see where we have our titles. So you see we have a title 1 pre-comp here. So this is a pre-composition and not the original title composition. But you see how far this title is visible. And now you see which title you are actually editing. But of course you don't need to do this. You can just open up the title 1 composition, and you see now, because we turned this white, we cannot really see it. So let's just toggle the transparency grid here and go to full resolution. And now you can just select your text layer and type in whatever title you want. And of course you can just change some fonts here. You know, I always used the Nexa Bold and Nexa Light for this example, and you will find a download link inside the project folder or inside the links folder inside the project. And you can use, of course, your own fonts and your own titles and your own style, but I will not lose any more time with this and just move on to the subtitles. So the subtitles are also inside the titles placeholders, and you see I just open it up by double clicking, and you can see this is just a really small title, and I put in here one line of real text, and the other thing is lorem ipsum text, because I really use them just as a design element and not really to communicate informations. So, you know, you can of course enter something, and that's why I did actually only one sentence, so that at least if you start reading, if somebody's really fast, you will see that there is something interesting. But you can of course also leave it or type in your text. So therefore you can just select the text tool and now start customizing this text. Of course you could also just delete my placeholder stuff here and put in your text and say, no, I have something very important to say, so I want the people to be able to read this. And then you go back to the render comp, you see that now we have way bigger and readable text. But for now I want to stick with this design element look. And I will show you how you can enter a media here. You see that I have a small media placeholder, and it looks a little bit ugly right now because it has some bevel and emboss on it, and this is meant that you put in a picture and not for this small font, but we will see this in a minute. So therefore we just move to my footage placeholders, and in this case we are at footage placeholder number 1, and we enter the media number 1 placeholder. And now you can just enter a picture. So let's go to File, Import File. And I will just quickly move to a project and import something. Let's see, what do we have? So a still of my last project. Open it up and drag it in here and on top of my placeholders. Now scale it down, you know, so that we have something interesting here. And now go back to our render composition, and now you see this is this bevel, you know, and if you don't like this bevel, you can of course get rid of it very easily. So therefore you can enter the title 1 pre-comp, and this is some in-depth customization options. So if you want to change this inserts, you see that in our render comp, of course you always have to unhide all the layers. You can see that we have title pre-comps here, you know. These titles that are inside here are just for customization. This is just the text. But when you want to do some layout customizations, you can just enter the title pre-comps by double-clicking inside the render comp and then open them up. And here you see all the elements forming this abstract insert or this insert, you know. And for example, if you don't like the emboss, then just select the footage layer. And now we can get rid of this, you know, by just disabling it. And of course you could also take a look what I did here with my radar you know, these elements, how they are built, and you can come in here and change them and scale around something or whatever you want to do, you know. Just to give you an insight of this project, that really everything is created inside After Effects, and you can really dive into these and take a look whatever I did here, you know, like, yeah, nothing too special, but you can check it out. Okay, but now let's go back to our render composition, and let's say that we are more or less finished with customization. One more thing. In the end, we also have a few title inserts. So if we take a look at this last frame here, you see that we have our Envato logo now, and we have our titles, and these titles are basically really only simple titles, and you can enter them right inside the render comp if you unfolded all of these, or you can also enter them here. It's title number 5, 6, 7, and 8, and of course, as always, just open up the title and then just type in your information and what you want to share. Okay, so this is it. I hope that you like the template. If you have any problems with the template, feel free to write me a message through my VideoHive profile or my homepage, which is www.graphicinmotion.com. Enjoy the template, create some really nice animations with it. Have fun, and I really hope to see you soon. Goodbye.
Audio Jungle.